I used to think that living on one income meant constant stress, always saying no, always feeling like we're missing out. It wasn't that we weren't working hard, I just didn't know how to stretch what I had. But everything changed once I learned how to make the most of my resources. So these are the exact strategies that not only helped me thrive financially and emotionally and spiritually on a single income, but even let me custom build my dream home on a low military budget. I actually did it, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So today, I'm going to show you the 3 superpowers that you didn't even know you had. You're going to stop letting your income control your entire life. You're going to shift how you see money. You are going to use your unique strengths and resources to create a thriving home. Because especially today, in 2025, when everything seems more expensive, gas, groceries, housing, it can feel like your paycheck just disappears before you can even blink. And with interest rates and inflation and this constant social media comparison game and pressure, it's really easy to feel like you're always behind and that there's never enough money. But that's why knowing how to thrive on one income isn't just a nice idea anymore. It's really a survival skill for your sanity and for your peace and for your family. So I'm Cassie. I'm a certified life coach and mom of 3 kids. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 13 years now, and I have survived countless budget meltdowns and somehow managed to custom build my dream home on a military paycheck without losing my mind, believe it or not. And if I can do it, trust me, you can do it. I have tried all the tips for stretching a budget and making it work. And don't get me wrong, those definitely helped us survive, but not thrive. The only thing that actually worked long term to really thrive was learning how to think differently, how to tap into my God given strengths and intentionally create a home and a life that fit the way that I was designed to thrive. Your money should never feel like a cage, and you deserve freedom, even on one income. So, first, we need to unlock the power of our thoughts. There I was, standing on the lot of my future home. It was an absolute cliff, by the way, gorgeous view, but cliff. And I had my budget in hand. I had this big binder that might as well have been gold. Like, it had everything. It felt so valuable. It was so important. And I was thinking, just for a minute, surrounded by all these ritzy houses way out of our price range, there is no way that we can make this work. There's no way that we can actually live in this neighborhood. But then I realized it wasn't the money that would make or break us. It was how I chose to think about it. I had to believe that it was possible, believe that I was capable, believe that we had the potential to really thrive. So it all started for me with a desire that I had. That's where we can really unlock what we want in our lives. We have the desire. So we were thinking about making a lot of changes and renovating our current house that we were living in. And it just felt like, oh my gosh, what's the point? And I threw out this idea, what if we built our own house, right? I was a little familiar with the concept of owner builder, and I just thought it sounded really fun. I was just up for it. And my husband was up for it too, and we just embarked on the journey. I had this really strong desire, like, we can do this. We can build our dream home in our desired area because we could save so much money, right? We could afford something that we could never afford any other way. So I had the desire, and then came the belief that I actually had the potential to make that happen. We have to believe in something, right? And beliefs are just thoughts that we think over and over again. That's all beliefs are. Your mind is your greatest asset. So how I was thinking about myself, how I was thinking about our situation, our capacity, determined how I felt and determined how I showed up. I had the confidence that I could do this, right? That we would be able to figure it out. And so desire came. Desire is where it started. And then came this belief that we could do it. We have to believe in ourselves. So you have to believe that you can thrive. And next was the resilience to actually get there, to actually overcome the things that would for sure stand in my way. Resilience is a skill of being able to overcome. And that is always a huge piece to the puzzle. We have to be resilient. We have to be able to handle what's in front of us. And we do that by utilizing and leveraging the power of our thoughts, because our thoughts are going to create our reality. And so the way we think about our money, the way we think about ourselves, our situation, determines whether we feel really trapped or whether we feel empowered. When we were sitting there kind of thinking about renovating, it would be really easy to feel very trapped because our resources were very limited. Our money was very limited. We could have absolutely figured stuff out and renovated, but it wasn't even ultimately what we wanted. The desire didn't quite align. We wanted this other neighborhood. We wanted kind of this other house, this other life. And instead of feeling trapped, I felt empowered because I knew, okay, we could make this happen. And what I ended up kind of figuring out, we could sell this current house, make a ton of equity on it because we had renovated a lot already, and use that equity to get started on this build, right? And those thoughts that I can do this, I'm capable, those created that feeling of empowerment, of confidence. So if we can shift from I can't afford this to how can I make this work, everything can change. Thriving on one income isn't about luck. It's about mindset. Your mind is your greatest asset. The way that you frame your situation determines your energy and your choices and your ability to thrive and have the feelings that you want. And just like our thoughts can empower us, the people we allow in our circle can either lift us or drain us, which brings me to our second superpower, which is your support system. No one thrives alone, especially when money is tight. When I was making the decision to build our home, there were so many things to figure out. So I had figured out, yes, we could sell this house, make that money. Okay, then what? Where would we live? So I got to work brainstorming, okay, what resources do we have available to us? And I am very blessed and fortunate to have family that is around and willing to help. I had a grandma who lived alone and basically offered for us to come and live there. We paid her some money, but mostly we were helping out with other things. I was making dinner every night, things like that. It kept her company. She was benefiting in a lot of ways from it, and we were benefiting in a huge way because we were living basically subsidized housing. We were paying her very little considering what she was giving to us. Another way was figuring out, okay, I definitely can't do everything for this house, right? I was going to be the general contractor, but I needed a team of people, essentially strangers, contractors, to help me. Yes, we were paying them money, but I still needed help, and I needed a strong support system in that way to actually execute on this build. I also had family members who were just very supportive. My sister, my mom, my brother, my dad, all those people that I could talk to, and they were kind of moral support and encouragement and made me feel supported and made me feel like I wasn't alone. They loved me, even if they weren't actually doing anything for my house, this house build. I knew that they were there. Other support systems even were our new neighbors, total strangers that were there and helping. So many people. And now I know what you're thinking at this point, right? Well, I am not as lucky as you are, right? You are so blessed. I have nobody. Nobody is there for me. I don't have anyone that I can call favors in. That is comparison talking to rob you of your potential, trying to take away your power to thrive. And our brains do that. We think other people don't have it as hard as us, and that's why we're not thriving. But let me tell you something. I also had my binder. Remember I talked about that binder? That is something I created solely on my own. I managed solely on my own. I had my daily routines that I created, I followed through on. I had blogs that I was seeking out and books that I was reading and podcasts, and I prayed my heart out every single day. God was there, right? I created my own support system that could lift me up. And even all those people, I had to ask. I had to reach out. And that's why it's so empowering to realize what we have the potential of. We have the potential to create a support system. And when you hear that word support system, Your brain naturally is most likely going to jump straight to people, right? And that makes sense. We're taught that a support system comes from having a network, right? A helpful husband and a responsible teenager who will help with things, or a friend group or a church community. And yes, people matter in a very big way, but that isn't the whole picture. A support system is anything that helps you carry what you've been called to carry. It could be a person, but it could also be tools. Your support system is more than just help. It's perspective and encouragement, and anything can provide you with that support. And in anything you're doing, when you're on one income, budget is tight, all those kind of survival things that I told you I had tried and done, borrowing things instead of buying things, right? That's a support system. That's a community. Or the YouTuber who taught you how to cut hair so that you could cut your child's hair and save the money. Those things are your support system. It doesn't mean that you have a family member that just bills you out for everything. If you have that, that's wonderful. But if you don't, do not let yourself do not let your brain convince yourself that you don't have a support system, because you do, and you have the potential of creating that for yourself. Now, thriving doesn't mean you do it all yourself. Surround yourself with people who are cheering you on and are willing to share their skills with you. Also, intentionally put tools and build systems into your life that will help you thrive as well. And you want to know the very best superpower that you have, and it has nothing to do with other people or how much money you have. You have your God-given nature. You already have everything you need to thrive. It's just a matter of tapping into it. As the owner builder of my home, I had to rely on my own strengths. Okay, I'm a very organized person. I am a planner. I'm ambitious. I'm disciplined. I'm a meticulous budget keeper. I'm a really good problem solver. And to be honest, I'm pretty stubborn and determined. Every challenge became an opportunity and a chance to stretch my abilities. I decided to learn how to tile, and I wanted to paint the whole house. I definitely was coordinating a ton of schedules, and I was making the design choices. And you might be hearing this and just thinking that I am so much better than you, right? Or there's something so special about me that you could never have. But the point I want to make is that within each of us is endless potential to thrive. Where there is desire, there is potential. You may not ever have the desire to own or build your own home. I honestly would not recommend it. If I'm being totally honest, it is just an ulcer waiting to happen. But if you have the desire, you can give yourself permission to reach your potential, whatever that might look like for you. I learned a bunch of new skills, right? I knew I had the potential to learn those things. And that's the way that it was going to work. And that's what my now ex-husband, it was my husband at the time, now ex-husband, that's what we realized. The only way we can do this is by leaning on all of our resources, pushing ourselves to the limit on what we are capable of personally, and getting it all to come together with the support system, with our own skills. So my ex-husband did all the electrical. I did all of the GC work, all of the phone calls, all the hiring. I sketched up the house. I took it to an architect to put actual plans in place, and the engineers, all the things. We did all the things we could and hired out what we really couldn't do. We had people coming and helping with random stuff, like even simple things like sweeping up the house as like kind of along the way, or installing the doorknobs and the doors. You people know who you are. It was a joint effort, that community, all because we were unlocking our potential. And if you're curious, you're probably confused. I will look through some pictures and find the house. So the house on this thumbnail isn't the house that I built. It's the house I live in now. My ex-husband and I built the dream home that I'm talking about, and I will try to find some pictures. We since have been divorced, obviously, and I'm remarried and I live here now. It wasn't because of the house, if that's what you're wondering. We actually worked really well throughout the whole process. Anyway, I want you to think for a second about your potential. What does it look like for you? Think for a minute about $10,000. And you're thinking, geez, that's a ton of money. I've never even seen that kind of money. Just imagine with me for just a second. There is so much potential that $10,000 has, right? What could you do with $10,000? Well, you could invest it. You could buy something or a lot of some things with it. You could throw an amazing party or plan a super memorable vacation. Okay, there is so much potential there. But what most people do is hide it under the bed. They're afraid of losing it. They're afraid of people making fun of it. They're afraid of what other people might think if they spend it or if they really utilize it and invest it. They're worried about that judgment. That's what so many of us are doing with our own life's potential. We are tucking it away and hiding it from ourselves and from the world. And probably because we are convincing ourselves we just can't, right? We're not worthy or we're not capable of maybe spending that in a wise way, right? We have these very limiting beliefs about our own potential. And if that's the case for you, I want you to think for just a minute about your kids. Okay, think about when they were just born, right? A cute little baby. I'm sure you saw their potential. You knew that someday they would talk to you. You knew that someday they would walk, and someday they would grow up to be this beautiful, wonderful human being. And there's this huge discrepancy between the potential we see in our children and the potential we see in ourselves. And why is that? I mean, it should not be the case. We all have limitless potential because God created us. We know that. We have endless potential. But the discrepancy comes in because oftentimes we are past focused. The older we get more and more past focused. We're letting our past decide what our future can bring. As opposed to a young child or a baby, we are very future focused. And even like through high school and college, we're very future focused. We're thinking about all the things ahead of us and all of our potential. And that's what defines the future, is our thoughts about the future. But we're letting, now that we're older, we're letting our past determine what our future looks like. I haven't been able to thrive, right? We've been on one income for so many years and I've never been able to thrive. So I'm gonna just decide that I can't thrive in the future, right? But it's your strengths, your desires, your abilities are uniquely yours and they are enough. And that's what I do when I coach moms. I help them see and believe in their potential. We are all co-creating the potential of our lives with God. Thriving isn't about having more money or about having more help. It's about leaning into your gifts and letting them guide how you build your home, literally or figuratively. When you combine the power of your thoughts with your support system and your God-given nature, you unlock the ability to thrive on one income in a way that is constantly delighting you. You don't just want to survive, you want to thrive. We want to feel the confidence that we are amazing and capable of anything. And that's exactly why I created my masterclass, to help moms stop comparing themselves to everyone else and actually discover how to thrive in their own home by leaning into their own strengths. There's a way to embrace your natural abilities, your unique desires, and the potential that's already inside you to thrive. If you know that you're going to want that, it will be free and it's coming really, really soon. So make sure that you're on my email list. You can get on that list by grabbing my free ebook. The link in the description is where you can grab that. Trust your potential. Trust that God loves exactly who you are and He has given you everything you need to thrive. The choice to live on one income is such a brave one, and you've already done that. And so now just choose to be a little bit braver and choose an extraordinary life that is full of thriving, even when and especially when the budget feels tight. I, for one, know you can do it. You're amazing, and I'll see you soon.